ஈயத்திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஸ்ரீவச்சன பூஷண திவ்ய சாஸ்திரம், most magnanimous Pillalokacharya gave this wonderful grantham for the sake of all Sri Vaishnavas to know the most important principles and follow them. In this Srivachana Bhushana Divya Shastram, starting from Purushakara Vaibhavam up to Acharya being the ultimate means and goal, several principles are explained. We have been going through the meanings for this Srivachana Bhushana Divya Shastram with the help of the commentary given by Manavada Mamnigal. We have seen up to 36 sutrams. Now we are going through the principle of prapaththi, that is surrender, which is a natural activity towards Bhagavan for a person who understood that Bhagavan is the Lord and we are Jivatma. So once that concept of we being Atma and we being dependent on Bhagavan is fully understood by such an Atma, one will naturally surrender to such Bhagavan and be totally dependent on that Bhagavan. So this prapaththi, this action of accepting Bhagavan as the upayam, as the means, is being explained in this section. Now we have seen up to 36th sutram. Here the current section is about our surrender should be done towards Emberiman, towards Bhagavan, who is in archa form, who is in this deity form in temples, homes, mutts, and so on. So this archAvathAram, this archa form of Bhagavan, is the apt form for us to perform surrender. That is the principle being highlighted in this section. We saw in the 35th sutram that even Alvars have performed prapaththi in archAvathAram in many places. Many Alvars have done prapaththi in many Divideshams many times. So that particular aspect was explained in 35th sutram. And in 36th sutram, since it is explained in Shastram as Purnam, Purnam means complete. Since it is said in Shastram that this archAvathAram is complete, here we can understand that all the qualities of Bhagavan are fully manifesting in this particular form of Bhagavan. So that was 36th sutram, which is Purnam engayale ella gunangalum pushkalangal. That is because it is said in Shastram that it is Purnam. This archAvathAram is Purnam. All the qualities are fully present here, says Pillalokacharya in 36th sutram. Now we will move on to 37th sutram. Here in the next few sutrams, why archAvathAram is complete? What is the speciality of archAvathAram? That is going to be explained in the next few sutrams. We'll see that today in this session. Sri Shailesha Dayapatram Dibhaktiyadi Gunanamam Yatindra Pravanam Mande Ramya Jamataram Munim Ramya Jamatri Yogindra Parekamayam Sada Tada Yatatma Sattadim Ramanuja Munim Bhaje Lokacharya Gurave Krishna Padasya Sunave Samsara Bhogi Sandashta Jiva Jivatave Namaha Lokagurum Gurubi Sahapurvaihi Kurakulottama Dasamudaram Srinakapatya Birame Vareshom Deeprashayana Gurum Bhajeham Lokacharya Krite Lokahite Vachana Bhushane Tattvartha Darshino Loke Tanishtascha Sudurlabaha Jagadacharya Rachite Srimat Vachana Bhushane Tattvajnanancha Tanishtam Dehinate Yatindrame. In these final two slokams we recited, it is explained that this Srivachana Bhushana Divya Shastram is very difficult to comprehend for even the wisest person, and it is even more difficult to acquire the principles and apply them practically in our lives. And for such SrIvachana Bhushana Divya Shastram to be fully manifest in our heart and for us to be able to practice it, we pray at the lotus feet of Srimad Bhagavad Ramanuja. Bhagavad Ramanuja is the one who can bestow this fortune for Jivatmas. Hence, we are praying at his lotus feet to bless us with such nishtha, both in theory and practice. So let us move on to 37th Sutram. Now, there is a question raised here. Vasudevosi Purnaha. Isn't it said that Vasudeva, Bhagavan's form in Paramapadam, in Sri Vaikuntham, is the most complete? Isn't that said like that? So, why is it that we should have great attachment towards archAvathAram? What is so special about archAvathAram? What is specifically great about archAvathAram? That is the question here. For that, Pillalokacharya is giving the answer in this sutram. prapaththikku apEkshithangaLAna saulabhyAdhigaL iruttaRaiyil viLakkup pole prakASippadhu ingE. The simple meaning for this sutram is prapaththikku apEkshithangaLAna saulabhyAdhigaL. That is, the qualities such as saulabhyam, saushilyam, vatsalyam, swamitvam, all these qualities which are required for prapaththi. Now, we should understand that it is not required for prapaththi as such, but it is required in Bhagavan for a Jivatma to perform prapaththi towards him. So it should be, the sutram should be understood like that. For someone to perform prapaththi, it is expected in Bhagavan to have qualities such as saulabhyam, saushilyam, vatsalyam, and so on. So such qualities, they are shining like a lamp in a dark room in this archAvathAram. That is the explanation here given by Pillalokacharya. When we have lights turned on during afternoon, when there is sunlight, the light will not have much effect. The electric light will not have much effect. But in the night, when it is dark everywhere, if you put on one light, that will give light to the entire room. It will be bright. So similarly, whatever the qualities which are expected in Bhagavan for someone to perform prapaththi, those qualities are shining here in this dark place which is samsara. That is the explanation here. Let us see Mamnigal's commentary. So Mamnigal here is explaining beautifully when it is said prapaththikku apekshita, that is desirable for prapaththi. That means it is desirable in Bhagavan for a Jivatma to perform prapaththi. First, Mamnigal explains this particular sutram clearly. Because sutrams are written in a very cryptic way, in a very brief way. But the commentator has to give the full explanation for the sutrams. So here, though it is said prapaththikku apekshita, though it is said like that, it should be understood that for someone to perform prapaththi, to perform surrender, it is expected in Bhagavan. What is expected in Bhagavan? Saulabhya and other qualities such as saulabhyam. So saulabhyam is required for someone to see Bhagavan and hold on to him. Saulabhyam means easy approachability. Only if Bhagavan is visible physically and if he makes himself available so that we can surrender unto him, then only we can surrender unto him. It is very difficult to surrender unto someone who is abstract, who is not visible. For that, Bhagavan himself is making himself available, himself present in this archa form, so that we can easily approach him. And then Saushiliam is required. Saushiliam is the quality of a very um, high class person mixing with low class people without any difference. That is the quality of Saushiliam. So for us to see Bhagavan and remain with him, and for Bhagavan to remain with all of us who are all very inferior in comparison to Bhagavan, his Saushiliam plays a key role. He remains amidst us, ignoring our lowly nature. So that Saushiliam is also required. And then for us to have faith that he will be able to fulfill our desires, Swamitvam is required. Only someone who is Swami, one who is owner of everything, he can fulfill the desires of the dependents. So for us to be fully submitting ourselves to Bhagavan, unless he has Swamitvam, unless he is the Lord himself, we will not be able to submit to him. We will have hesitation. So for such hesitationless surrender, one should have Swamitvam. That is, Bhagavan should have Swamitvam so that we can surrender unto him. And then for him to not be angry looking at our defects, our faults, our mistakes, he needs Vatsalyam. Vatsalyam is the quality, we have already seen this many times. Vatsalyam is the quality of a mother calf towards her child, mother cow towards the child calf. Towards the child, the mother calf shows great affection, ignoring all the defects of the child. Similarly, in the life of a mother, she ignores the defects of the child and does everything which is required for the child. So that Vatsalyam, that quality is required in Bhagavan so that he can ignore our defects, he can ignore all our mistakes and accept us. So this particular these qualities are highlighted here. Saulabhyam, etc. Saulabhyadhi means saulabhyam, etc. These are the qualities which are highlighted here, says Mamnigal. And we have seen this before again. This is highlighted by Nammalvar also in Thiruvaimozhi, 6th centum, 10th decade, 10th Pasuram. Agalagillen Iraiyum என்று. In this very popular Pasuram, Nammalvar highlights that Bhagavan has all of these qualities. அகலகில்லேன் இறையுமென்று அலர்மேல் மங்கை உரைமார்பா நிகரில் புகழாய் உலகம் மூன்றுடையாய் என்னை ஆழ்வானே நிகரில் அமரர் முனிக்கணங்கள் விரும்பும் திருவேங்கடத்தானே புகழொன்றில்லாவடியே உன் அடிக்கீழ் அமர்ந்து புகுந்தேனே. In this Pasuram, Nammalvar says about Bhagavan having 4 distinct special qualities. Nigaril Pugalai, that is the first quality, which is Vatsalyam. Ulaham Mundudayai, Swamitvam, one who is the Lord of all the worlds. And then Ennai Alvane, Saushilyam, he remains with Alvar and accepts Alvar. And then Nigaril Amara Munikanangal Virumbum Thiruvengadatane, he remains in the archAvathAram form, which is easily approachable. So that is Saulabhyam. So all these 4 qualities are manifested by Bhagavan in this particular Thiruvengadamudiyaan Srinivasa Bhagavan's form. So that is highlighted by Nammalvar also. Before surrendering, he says these things. So this particular aspect of all these qualities being present in Bhagavan is highlighted here. Now the last section, iruttaRaiyil viLakkup prakASippadhu ingE. That means they are shining here in this archa form in a very grand manner. In parathvam, in Paramapadam, in SrIvachana, even though all of these qualities are present, Bhagavan's different forms are going to be explained here in the 39th sutram. You will see that, but para form is his form in Paramapadam, in SrIvachana. There he is present amidst the Nityasuris and Muktatmas. They are all at par with Bhagavan in knowledge and qualities and divine form and so on. So for them, his qualities such as Vatsalyam, Swamitvam, Saulabhyam, Saushilyam, they are all like light in the daytime, because light in daytime doesn't solve much purpose. Similarly, Bhagavan is present with all of these qualities in Paramapadam, but there is no one who is having defects in Paramapadam. So his Vatsalyam, what is the benefit of his Vatsalyam? There is no benefit. Vatsalya means looking at someone's defects and accepting that as enjoyable aspect. That is not possible in Sri Vaikuntha for Bhagavan, because everyone is pure there. So there is no scope for manifesting his Vatsalyam quality. Even though it is present in him, it is always present in him in all situations. There it is like lamp in the daytime. There is no shine in it. But archAvathAra form, which is in this world, in this material world, in this place where all the samsaris are ultimate examples for inferior nature, ignorance, bad conduct, and so on. So here, his qualities such as Vatsalyam, if he wants to show his Vatsalyam, this is the place, because there are so many people with defects. So he can easily accept their defects as enjoyable aspects and grant them all the desires. So here his qualities will shine like a lamp in the night time. So this is where, when there is expectation for Bhagavan's qualities, there is benefit in that place. If there is no expectation for Bhagavan's qualities, then there is no benefit of those qualities. It's not, those qualities are not shining in that place. So in Paramapadam, such qualities are not shining much, because they are already in the best situation. Everyone is very advanced, everyone is having purity, everyone is in a very deep devotion and so on. So there is no scope for these qualities. But here in this samsara, in this world, in this material world, all of his qualities have great benefit, have great purpose, because there are so many people to be accepted and reformed. For example, Saushilyam, he is mixing with lowly people in many cases. In Krishnavataram, Ramavataram, in all of those incarnations, he mixed with many inferior people, because there is scope for it. In Paramapadam, there is no scope for it. So here there is scope for such mixing with inferior people and so on. So all of these qualities are shining here. Now saulabhyam is said in the beginning, because this particular quality is the most important quality for someone to surrender. Because unless one can see Bhagavan and surrender to Bhagavan physically, such satisfaction will not be there, and one will not have confidence in that surrender. That is why this saulabhyam is highlighted as the most important quality, and that is why it is highlighted here in the sutram. Saulabhyadhi, that means saulabhyam, etc., which is where saulabhyam is given importance over other qualities. So that is also explained here by Mamnigal in the commentary. Now, 38th sutram. In this sutram, Pillailokacharya is explaining, Mamnigal gives in the introduction, in the Avatarikai, he is saying, how is Pillailokacharya explaining that all of these qualities are shining here? That is done in this 38th sutram. How are these qualities shining here? When asked such question, Pillailokacharya is explaining the answer for that question in 38th sutram. pUrthiyaiyum svAthanthryaththaiyum kulaiththuk thannai anAdharikkiRavargaLai தான் ஆதரித்து நிற்கிற idam. So this is the sutram. Purti means completeness. Swatantriya means independence, total independence. He reduces them, he brings them down, and he supports those who abandon him, those who do not support him. So that is the speciality of this archAvathAram. And that is why these qualities are shining greatly in this particular archAvathAram. Says Pillailokacharya in this sutram. Let us see Mamnigal's commentary. There are two different ways of explaining this sutram. Pillailokacharya sutram can be viewed in two different ways. Mamnigal has explained both the ways. First way is to explain Purti and Swathanthryam. Purti as completeness and Swathanthryam as total independence. And here, in the first explanation, both are given importance. And Bhagavan, how he is reducing himself, his own completeness and his own Swathanthryam, and he is making himself available under the control of his devotees. That is the first explanation. Second explanation is in this in this particular context, saulabhyam is considered as most important aspect, and how saulabhyam plays an important role in supporting even those who are abandoning him. So these two explanations are present here. Let us see one by one. Now, what is purti? What is completeness? That means avapta samasta kamatvam. Avapta samasta kamatvam means not expecting anything from anyone. He is satisfied on his own. So he's got everything. He doesn't need anything from anyone else. That is the nature of Bhagavan. Bhagavan says in Gita also, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayashati. He can just offer a leaf to me, like Tulasi, a flower to me, water to me, a fruit to me. I will not expect anything from him other than his bhakti. His devotion is what I expect from him. So here it is said that Bhagavan is having completeness. He does not need anything from anyone else. So he is reducing his completeness and he is presenting himself as if he is incomplete and he is expecting something from others. So, for example, we go to the temple. It is always recommended that when we go to temple, when we go to elders, acharya, and so on and so forth, we get something which we can offer to them. Now, when we go to temple and we take some fruits, thinking that we'll offer this to Bhagavan, at that time, Bhagavan is not expecting any of that. He does not need anything from us. Only thing he needs is our devotion, our love. But still, we think, and it is also explained in Shastra that when we go to temple, we have to take some offering to Bhagavan. So it is an image is created both in Shastram and both in our own minds that we should take something to temple. That means it appears that Bhagavan expects that. Though Bhagavan does not expect that, it is only for our own satisfaction, for our own completeness. To be a proper devotee, we have to be a proper disciple, we have to take something to Bhagavan, Acharya, and so on. It is not some favor we are doing for Bhagavan. Even when we are doing Kainkariam, we think that we do some favor for Bhagavan or Acharya. But it is not that way. It is for our own benefit. By engaging in Kainkariam, we become more involved and we become more attached to Bhagavan and so on. So, but the image is that everyone thinks, oh, we have to take something to Bhagavan when we go there. So, he himself has allowed to make people think that he is expecting something from everyone who comes to him. But that is not the case. Those who are wise, they will know that everything is already owned by Bhagavan. So there is no expectation from him newly. So this is the principle which is being explained here. Though he has completeness, he is presenting himself here as if he is dependent on others, as if he is expecting something from others. And the next point is Swathanthryam. Swathanthryam means Swadhina Swarupadimatvam. That means placing his Swarupam and Swabhavam and so on under the disposal of others. That is opposite to Swathanthryam. Swathanthryam means having full control over his own activities, his own self. That is Swathanthryam. So Bhagavan has full control over self, but he makes himself dependent on others. He makes himself dependent on the archaka, the one who does puja for him. Whenever the archaka desires to do Tiruvaradhanam, he does. Whenever he desires to do Abhishekam or Tirumanjanam or bathing of Perumal, he does that. So Bhagavan is himself placing himself under the control of this archakas and all the devotees. When someone goes, today when I go to temple, if I take banana, Bhagavan accepts that. He remains as dependent. Instead of saying, I don't want banana today, he says, whatever you have brought, I will accept. So instead of being a Swatantra, he remains as Paratantra in front of his devotees. He likes that also. It is his voluntary act. It is his willful choice. He chooses that. Without his choice, nothing will happen. So, reducing such completeness and reducing his own swathanthryam, purti and swathanthryam, he is supporting those who are not having any interest towards him. So a couple of pramanams are also quoted here. Tadichaya Mahateja Bhunkte Vai Bhaktavatsalaha. Bhagavan is Bhaktavatsala, one who is very affectionate towards his devotees. He presents himself as subservient to, dependent to his devotees. Parashara Bhattar says this was from Vishwaksena Samhita, and then Archaga Paradinaha Akilatma Sthitihi. Parashara Bhattar says that Bhagavan is fully under the disposal of his devotees, and he even has his existence based on his devotees. So that is the way he places himself. So as mercifully explained by Parashara Bhattar also, he is totally making himself available for the sake of others, even those who are not fully attached to him. For example, we go to temple and we worship Bhagavan, and he is waiting there. Now we return home, but he still stays in the temple, thinking that tomorrow this devotee may come again. I have to remain here. So that is the way Bhagavan is looking at all the jivatmas, all the devotees, and waiting for them, even when we don't support him, even when we abandon him. For example, we had this great disease. Many of us did not go to temple for 2 months, 3 months, but still Bhagavan did not leave from there. He stayed there. He was waiting. Someone will come. Even if one devotee comes, I will be here. So that was the affection Bhagavan is that is the affection Bhagavan is having, and that is what his support means. Even those who are not supporting him, he is supporting all of them. We think that Archa Rupam means he does not see, he does not speak, he does not interact, but still he can do all of that if he wants. He just puts a condition on himself and he remains in that particular situation. So here he himself reduces all of those from him, and he makes himself available at the disposal of his devotees. So all of these show that he has saulabhyam, saushilyam, vatsalyam, swamitvam, and all of these aspects. So that is the first explanation. Second explanation is based on saulabhyam alone. Focus is on saulabhyam. Among the four main qualities, vatsalyam, swamitvam, saushilyam, and saulabhyam, the focus is saulabhyam. Saulabhyam is his physical presence in an easily approachable archa form. So when Bhagavan is present in temples, even at our home, he is present as Salagrama Murti, Sri Murti. So even in those cases, Bhagavan is so compassionate, so merciful that he even comes to our own home and stays in our home in a Vigraha form, in a Shalagrama Murti form, and so on. So even though Bhagavan is Swatantra, Nirankusha Swatantra, he is, even though being abandoned, he is not looked up by the samsaris, by the chetanas. He still cares for him, for all of the jivatmas, because he has saulabhyam. He has this quality of making himself easily approachable by all of them, and hence that saulabhyam is the main quality, and which is being highlighted here, says Mamnigal. It is also explained in this particular pramanam. Vishwaksena Samhitai. Again, in this Vishwaksena Samhita, it is explained that each form of Bhagavan, we are going to see which forms, that is Para, vyUha, Vibhava, Archa, Antaryami. So each form, Para, and then vyUha, and then Vibhava, and then Antaryami, and then Archa, the first form is less magnanimous than the next form. The same way, third form is more magnanimous than second form. Fourth form is more magnanimous than third form. And finally, Archa form is the most magnanimous, most easily approachable form, compared to all other forms. So his saulabhyam is fully manifested in this archa form as explained in this particular Vishwaksena Samhita. Evam panchaprakaroha roham atmanam patatam adaha purvasmadapi purvasmat jayam shaivottarottaraha. First form is having less saulabhyam than second form. Second form is having less saulabhyam than third form. Third form is having less saulabhyam than fourth form. And finally, this archa form is having the most saulabhyam. Explains this pramanam in the Vishwaksena Samhita. So, based on this, also we can understand that Bhagavan's archa form is the most easily approachable form where his saulabhyam is manifested in full here. That is 38th Sutram. Now 39th Sutram. In this 39th Sutram, Pillilokacharya is explaining the difficult nature of parathvam and vyUham and antharyami and vibhavam, and easy nature of the archAvathAram. So daurlabhyam and saulabhyam. Daurlabhyam means very difficult to attain and saulabhyam means very easy to attain. So these two aspects are explained using an example, drishtantam. Through this example, this principle is highlighted. This principle is explained by Pillilokacharya, says Mamnigal in the commentary. Let us see the sutram. bhUgatha jalam pole antharyAmithvam. AvaraNa jalam pole parathvam. pARkadal pole vyUham. perukkARu pole vibhavangal. Adile thengina madukal pole archAvathAram. Very nice sutram. This is a very easy way to remember in one sentence what are all the various qualities of the different five forms of Bhagavan. So Bhagavan has five different forms. We saw that shlokam Purnavadaha. That shlokam explains five different forms of Bhagavan. In this previous sutram also we saw this shlokam evam panchaprakaroham atmanam. There also the five different forms of archAvathara Bhagavan are highlighted. Here those five different forms are explained a little bit more detail. Let us see the explanation here. bhUgatha jalam pole antharyAmithvam. antharyAmithvam, that is Bhagavan being indwelling super soul of all entities, Chetana as well as Achetana entities, that is all the Atmas, souls as well as all the matter. All of that has Bhagavan as Antaryami, indwelling super soul. That is similar to water under the earth. So water is present under earth, but it is very difficult to extract and drink. For a thirsty person to consume water, he immediately needs it. Now, this particular situation is explained as the example to understand Bhagavan in his five different forms. So, for such person, water under the earth, it is not possible to immediately take that and drink. One has to work hard to bring the water out. So, that is similar to antharyAmithvam. We are going to see the detailed definition in the Vyakyanam, in the commentary. And then AvaraNa jalam pole parathvam. Parathvam, Bhagavan's form in Paramapadam, is similar to AvaraNa jalam. AvaraNa jalam means the layers which are covering the andam, the universe. The universe is covered with 7 layers of water, air, and so on. So that particular water is completely out of our reach. A person who is thirsty, he cannot bring the avarana jalam, the water in the outer layers, and drink that. So that is like parathvam. And then pARkadal pole vyUham. pARkadal is not outside the universe. It is still universe. It is inside the universe. It is in Satyalokam. Shirabdi, the milk ocean, is part of Satyalokam, which is the topmost layer in the Andam, in the universe, oval-shaped universe. So that pARkadal is inside the universe. It is not outside the universe, unlike Avarana Jalam. But still, this pARkadal is also very far from Jivatma's reach. So that is like vyUham. And then perukkARu pole vibhavangal. perukkARu means flooded rivers. This flooded river, they are like incarnations of Bhagavan. The floods come only periodically. Twice a year, the floods may come. But after that, the floods will not come. Let's say I am in April month, hot summer. At that time, we won't have any floods. So a thirsty person cannot drink water from a flood because it is already past. It is not there. So that is the reverse, which is indicating Vibhavams. Vibhavams means archAvathAram. vibhavavathAram means Bhagavan's incarnations as Rama, Krishna, Varaha, etc. And then ponds which stayed from those rivers, they are archAvathAram. So this archAvathAram are like ponds which are very near to us. These ponds are easily approachable. Anyone can go to a pond, take a handful of water and quench his thirst. So that is the example given for archAvathAram. So this is the sutram, simple sutram, simple explanation. Very nice example. With this example, we can easily understand the 5 different forms of Bhagavan and relate to them. So let us see Mamnigal's commentary here. So here, for a particular person who is thirsty, see, if someone is thirsty, it doesn't matter whether water is present here or there. But for a person who is thirsty, that is a person, a samsari, that is a jivatma, who is desirous to reach Bhagavan, for such person, just as a thirsty person will find water in a pond very convenient to fetch and consume, similarly, archAvathara forms are very easy for a person who is seeking liberation to go and surrender and get his desire fulfilled. So that is the example started by Mamnigal here. So for a person who is having thirst, who is thirsty, even though water is present under the earth, it is not possible for the person to directly take that and drink water. One has to get some equipment. One has to start uh, drilling a big hole in the earth, finally spot the water, and then only one will be able to take the water and drink. It may take several days for that to happen. Similarly, this antharyAmithvam, as said in Katkili Unnai Kanumarullai. This is in Sri Ranganatha's Padigam in Tiruvaimozhi, Peri Perumal's Mangala Shasanam. As said in that Pasuram, Katkili means one who cannot be seen by eyes. For such um, person who is not visible through our naked eyes, one has to go through several yogic practices and then only one will be able to see Bhagavan. This is like one has to drill a big hole in the earth for several days and then getting water. So that particular form, antharyAmithvam, is explained in this particular manner, and it is not very easy for the any normal person to get water from earth. Similarly, it is not possible for a normal person to have the darshan of Antaryami Bhagavan. Antaryami Bhagavan will be visible for yogis who have full control over their senses. But for a normal layman, that is not possible. Hence, because of this, this Antaryamitvam is explained to be similar to water under earth. And then Parathvam is explained. Parathvam is like water in the outer layer of the universe. Outside the universe, this water is there. Who can go to outside the universe and get water to quench the thirst? Nobody can do it. So similarly, while in this world, it is not possible for a Jivatma to directly go to Sri Vaikuntham, Paramapadam and see Parathvam of Bhagavan there. So for such person, only this scope is in surrendering to archAvathAram. So here, this Parathvam is like water outside the universe, which is beyond the reach of the thirsty person. Similarly, beyond the reach of person who is seeking Bhagavan, this AvaraNa jalam, this water in the outside layer of earth is not of any use. So this Parathvam is outside Leela Vibhuti. It is outside the Leela Vibhuti, which is the samsara collection of many crores and crores of andams, that is oval shaped universes. So Parathvam is completely outside all of this, and hence it is very difficult for the Jivatma to again reach parathvam. And then pARkadal is Shirabdi. This Shirabdi is vyUham, says Pillalokacharya here. Shirabdi is vyUham. This is because Shirabdi is within this world only. Unlike AvaraNa Jalam, which is outside the world, Shirabdi is within this world. It is explained in Puranams and Itihasams that Vishnu's Loka, that is this Shirabdi, is in Satyalokam. In Tattvatrayam also, Manavada Mamnikal explains this, that Satyalokam is the place where Shirabdi is present, milk ocean is present. Even though it is within the boundary of Satyalokam, even Brahma cannot enter into Shirabdi. He can only stay outside the Shirabdi and pray for Bhagavan to give darshan to him. So that is the nature of Shirabdi. So that is similar to vyUham, which is inside this material world. It is not outside the material world. Parathvam is outside the material world. It is in spiritual world. That is Paramapadam. But vyUham is within this material world. But it is similar to Shirabdi, which is unreachable for anyone here ordinarily. So even though it is not very very far like Paramapadam, but not very close also, still it can be reachable only for certain qualified persons such as Devas and so on. So that is compared here to pARkadal. pARkadal is Milky Ocean. And then vibhavavathAram is highlighted. Manmeedulal Vai. Alvar is saying, Vinmeediruppai, Malai and then in that Pasuram, Manmeedulal Vai says Nammalvar in this particular Pasuram. So here also all the 5 different forms of Bhagavan are highlighted. Vinmeediruppai, Malaimel Nirpai, Kadal Serpai, Manmeedulal Vai, Ivattulengum Maraidurai Vai. So each of the different forms of Bhagavan is highlighted in this particular Pasuram by Nammalvar. So as said in this particular Pasuram, he is roaming around in this material world as mortal beings in this form of vibhavavathAram. VibhavavathAram is Krishna Avataram, Rama Avataram, Matsya Avataram, Kurma Avataram. All of these are vibhavavathAram, but they are not present now. They happened over time, over the past several millions of years ago. These incarnations occurred, and hence we don't have direct contact towards them right now. So such vibhavavatarams now are represented in archAvathAram. For example, if you go to many temples, for example, if you go to Tiruvallikeni, Bhagavan is standing there as Krishna. If you go to Tiruppukuri, Bhagavan is remaining there as Rama. In this particular way, in various temples, if you go to sriVachana, Bhagavan is remaining as Varaha Bhagavan. If you go to Tiruvallikeni, he is also present as Narasimha. So archAvathAram is really representative of vibhavavatarams in many cases. It need not be the case always, but there are some places where Bhagavan is directly manifesting himself as Paramapadanada or Shirabdinada and so on. But in many places, archAvathAram is representing vibhavavathAram. So here, this vibhavavathAram is explained next. This vibhavavathAram are like rivers which flood once in a while. When there is flood, we will have sufficient water, but then after that they may drain out, so they will not be able to solve the purpose. This is similar to vibhavavathAram, where Bhagavan incarnates in various times, but now we cannot see Krishna directly in this particular time because his incarnation is completed. So similarly here in this vibhavavathAram, as it is seen, which is similar to rivers which flood periodically, and then once that flood drains, we will not be able to get as much water. Finally, archAvathAram is the representative of vibhavavatarams. They are like the small ponds which are left behind in floods. So when there is a flood, if there is a pit, water will get filled in there and it will remain there. Similarly, Krishnavataram is being represented in many Divideshams. Ramavataram is represented in many Devideshams. In this particular manner, vibhavavataram has left its mark in many archAvathara Divideshams. So these archAvatarams are like ponds. If there is a pond right next to our home, we just go, we take a bucket, or a pot or a vessel, we get water, we bring it and we drink water easily. So that is the greatness of archAvataram, which are like pots which are very easily approachable. And even archAvataram, we can see the archAvataram, Shalagrama Bhagavan, Srimurti Bhagavan, they are present in our own home. We can even imagine that as well inside our own home, or a water tank inside our home. This where water is preserved in this particular well. Now that is like archAvataram at home, our Shalagrama Bhagavan or Sri Murti Bhagavan or Vigraha Bhagavan. So these forms are even more easily approachable. At our home, at our own convenience, they are present. So archAvataram is in context of Bhagavan's deity forms in temple as well as mutts as well as homes and all these places. So in everywhere, this archAvataram are like ponds or preserved water which is easily retrievable at any time we want. So based on this particular example of water present in 5 different places, water present in outside the universe, water present in under the earth, water present inside the universe but it is not reachable by us, and then water present in rivers which were flooding at some point, and then water present in ponds and wells and so on. This is compared to Bhagavan present in parathvam, Bhagavan present in antharyAmithvam, Bhagavan present in vyUhatvam, Bhagavan present in vibhavam, and then Bhagavan present in archAvataram. So these are the different forms. Pinnanar vanangum sodi tirumoli kalattana. Bhagavan, for the sake of those who come after the times of vibhavatarams, Bhagavan himself manifests as archAvataram in archAvataram form, so that they can also benefit in having the connection with Bhagavan, worshipping Bhagavan and so on. Parashara Bhattar also explained this greatly. Bhauva Niketaneshvapi Kuti Kuncheshu. Kuti Kuncheshu means even in homes, in mutts and temples, everywhere, Bhagavan is present in his divine form, in the archa form, for the sake of all the jivatmas. In our homes, we don't have any good contact. We have many different inconveniences. Unlike temples where agama system is followed, here in home, even that is not there. We sometimes, even some people forget to do Tiruvardhanam. They miss to do Tiruvardhanam. They leave Perumal at home and go for travels and so on. Even in all these cases, Bhagavan patiently forgives all of them and gives his presence and gives his darshan to all of the people at all times. So that is the greatness of Bhagavan. So this archAvataram is many. There are so many archAvatarams of Bhagavan, and in each of these temples, each of these homes, each of these mutts, his divine forms are very auspicious and very, very easily approachable by all the devotees. So that is explained in the 39th Sutram. With this, we will stop today. We will continue on in the next session. We will have the next session on next Saturday in the morning. Alvar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, Emberamanar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, Pillai Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, GR Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, GR Tiruvadigalai Sharanam. Okay, so we'll recite Bhasram and complete the session. எம்பெருமானார் தரிசனம் என்றே இதற்கு நம்பெருமாள் பெயரிட்டு நாட்டி வைத்தார் அந்த தரிசனத்தை எம்பெருமானார் வளர்த்த அந்த செயலறிகைக்கா. Today at 1:30 we have Tirupavai program. It will be in Tamil. And Avatharams. We are going to see the connection between them. Tirupavayil Bhagavad Avatarangal. அந்த விஷயம் இன்னைக்கு 1:30 மணிக்கு திருப்பாவை உபன்யாசமாக அனுபவிக்க போகிறதோ கலந்துக்கலாம். இந்த மார்கழி முழுக்கவே ஞாயிற்றுக்கிழமை தோறும் அந்த விஷயம் இருக்கும். அடியேன் ராமானுதாசன்.